One of the big changes since moving to Spain is that we once again find ourselves car free. So if we want to commute around town, pick up groceries, or even take mini vacations, we're doing it either with transit or with bikes. That has meant acquiring, or rather reacquiring, some essential things to live that car-free lifestyle. So in this video, we're going to talk about our car-free essentials. The first thing after bikes, of course, is a way to protect the bikes, and that is locks. We picked up these super herky Abbas locks. These are the Granite 470s, and we settled on these because these seem to be the best price per security level as per the Abbas website. Not sponsored, bought this with our own money. It was a little painful in the wallet because these are a little bit on the spendy side, but it would be far more expensive to replace our bikes. Living in Girona, which has exploded as a cycling destination, that also means a higher frequency of bike theft. Granted, most of those people are looking at the high-end tourist bikes, but it kind of trickles down to your basic commuter as well. So our first big acquisition was, a pair of good U-locks. The locks don't stop there. However, we also picked up these ones from, I believe we got these from a Spy BC. Again, Abbas, not sponsored. We just trust this brand. And this is kind of like a hip lock style lock. We used these when on tour. When we went to Tossa de Mar, we couldn't bring our bikes in the room and had to leave the bikes in a semi-public but secure-ish location. So we just free locked the bikes to make sure that no one would accidentally roll out with them. This is also good to carry on a long road ride where, there's going to be a cafe stop and you might not be able to see your bike. This just keeps honest people honester. Another huge essential and kind of the centerpiece to being car-free, in my opinion, is a good bike rack. And the racks we have and that I've been enjoying immensely are the Ortlieb quick racks. They're good value for the money, super functional. They have a platform. On the platform, I keep some rock straps so I can easily tie down things like a tripod or light stand or whatever random longish things I need to carry. They also clearly work with any painter bag, any system. What's cool about them is you can also remove them fairly quickly. This isn't a feature that's going to be important to a lot of people, but I tend to use it a lot. It comes in handy when sticking the bike in a travel case. I also use it when I take it on longer rides and I want to lighten the bike for whatever existential doubt I might have. You can do it fairly quickly. Even though it is a quick release rack, I've found it super secure. It does not wobble once you have it properly set up, and it also doesn't break the bank. I think it's, aside from being a quick release rack, it's one of the best value per dollar racks out there on the market. Okay, let's talk lights. These are just lights I had, nothing super special about them. This is the Hotshot light by Seagull Light. I like this. I feel like it's fairly bright. One thing that bums me out is that they still use the older squarish micro USB, and I wish they would come out with a version with USB-C. In my searching, it seems to be pretty rare for a rear light to use USB-C. If you guys know of a good one, let me know in the comments below. In terms of front lights, I have been enjoying this light. I believe it's a Swedish brand called Bookman, and this is their volume front light. What's cool about this is that it is USB-C chargeable. The rechargeable light is actually replaceable. There's a coin slot here where you can pop it out and get a new cell. One of the fun, cute things is you can adjust the brightness with this knob here. In a world full of impersonal buttons, it's nice to have like this tactile knob. Feels analog or digital. Since I'm often running some kind of front bag on my bikes, I've mounted it to this Geno mount here that I can put on the fork. And yes, while the wheel does cast a bit of a shadow, you can still see. Don't freak out. It's not perfect, but it still works. Another essential bit of gear that I literally bought yesterday is this crane bell. Going through town on trips or just doing groceries, there's a lot of people, a lot of pedestrians, a lot of tourists. And instead of having to constantly yell, hola, bon dia, perdón, perdona, you can just ring the bell. It's super handy, especially on the weekends when we go out on the trail to get out of town. It's a good way just to, warn hikers, walkers, runners of your presence without having to constantly yell at people. Probably one of my favorite pieces of bike commuting gear is this guy. This is the Vario bag by Ortlieb. Full disclosure, they did send this to the channel to review. But when it first arrived, I thought, it's a little bulky. Am I really going to use it? But over the last 2 months or so, it has been my go-to bag. What makes this bag so great? If you look over here, on one side, it's a typical Ortlieb pannier hardware. Where the Vario gets its name is this cool trick that you can do with it. You just undo this hook on this side, and you work this flap around. It's hard to do this in one elegant swoop. You rehook it on this side, and bam, you have a backpack. This is a pretty cool solution to the age-old pannier/backpack problem. I've seen many brands try to solve this. Some brands put the pannier and the backpack straps on the same side, and you kind of tuck these into like a pocket or something. Those work, but I always feel they're a bit of a compromise. There's bulk, you've got the pannier hardware there. With the Vario, since the backpack straps are on one dedicated side and the pannier hardware on the other, it's kind of having the best of both worlds with very little compromise. My first outing with the Ortlieb Vario was exclusively in backpack mode. I took this with us to Barcelona to do some filming over at Espy BC. And it worked awesome as a weekender bag. I had a couple days worth of clothes, some camera equipment, an iPad. And just as a backpack, it works great. Super comfortable, padded straps. You've got adjustable sternum strap. There's a mesh pocket on the side so you can put an exterior water bottle or carry layers. So it functions awesome just as a standalone backpack. This flap, one added benefit of it is you can stuff a helmet in here or some extra layers. There's also an external zippered pocket for quick access to things. I'm gonna turn this back into a pannier here. You just undo the clip, move the flap around, and reclip it on this side. And there you go. As a pannier, it works perfect as a pannier. You don't have the shoulder straps getting in the way, adding bulk to the bike side of the bag. In terms of internal organization, there isn't much. It's basically one big cavernous waterproof bag. There is an internal laptop sleeve, and I found it big enough to fit a 16-inch MacBook. It comes in two sizes, a 20 and 26 liter. This is the larger of the two. And the way I use this is actually for painting. I'll put a tripod, all my oil paints, a couple of painting panels into this bag, bike down to somewhere in town, convert it into a backpack, walk around, find the spot I want to paint, set up, and then do the process in reverse. You could use this for hiking, for any task where part of it's going to be on the bike, but part of it is going to be on foot. This might be the best iteration of the painter backpack I've ever tried. If you guys are curious about more behind the scenes of our life in Spain, or some deeper dives into biking in Spain, a more fleshed out map route of our recent trip to Tossa de Mar, then consider joining us on Patreon. We've been doing weekly updates on all that stuff. If you like this content and want to support the channel, and Patreon is too much commitment for you, then pick up a sticker from our merch shop, because I am, after all, just a sticker salesman with the YouTube channel. As always, everybody, keep the supple side down.